Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem made of lies. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when the people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design. Welcome to another episode of Core Living. That's Brainwashed by Tom MacDonald. It's one of his newer songs. You can check it out on YouTube. It's a pretty good tune. But yeah, here we are, another episode of Core Living, and tonight's subject is brainwashing. So I thought the very first thing we do is just get a definition on the table like we normally do. Brainwashing is the process of pressuring someone into adopting radically different beliefs by using systematic and often forcible means. Things to maybe notice in here is that this isn't just for cults. You can find this in politics, you can find it in religion, you can find it in education, in relationships, advertisements. Brainwashing is everywhere. So, wouldn't you think that would be a pretty important thing to maybe take a look at? Also because this, if you're on some type of a spiritual pathway or personal development, I think a very important tool to take along the journey is going to be the ability to think for yourself, to learn how to follow your own intuition, to see a perspective objectively, maybe outside of what the herd is constantly fixated on. In order to do that, I think it's important to bring attention to the one giant elephant in the room, and that's this. Notice right now, in your experience, if you're watching this video, notice right here, right now, that no one ever thinks that they're the one being brainwashed. 2, no one ever thinks that they are the one brainwashing. There's usually always some reason or justification for the brainwashing. It's always for some higher cause or some righteous reason why you would go or need this tool of brainwashing to achieve this indoctrination or this manipulation to create whatever you want to get out of it. Think about the day and the age that you live in right now. There are many tactics that are used to brainwash and manipulate people. I got a whole bunch of them I wrote down here. One of them would be isolating someone from their family and their friends, filling their schedule so that you can get this time alone with a person to tell them, what they should believe, filling up their schedule to get them away from people that might say, hey, I don't know, what that person's telling you, I think might be a little off there. There might be something that doesn't seem right there. Usually a brainwasher wants to get someone alone with them for as much time as they can. You could maybe notice this in, relationships where people try to keep you away from their family, around holidays and certain like that. They try and get that time with you, which leads kind of in the next section would be like a monopolization of your perception and time. Not only just with family and friends, but the content that you're consuming. Trying to get things that might persuade you to kind of look in a direction or be able to see the fault in a point of view or an ideology, and then replacing it with images and things that you can see that could get you to buy into whatever's being forced down your throat. Another tool or tactic that could be used in brainwashing could be a pressure to weaken you or weaken your resistance through. It can start off subtle. It could be with little acts of using, subtle jokes or sarcasm, making you feel like maybe the point like your belief before, it's silly, or to question it, or it might be a little off, subtle little things like that. And as you can see as we're going through this, notice that this is kind of like a spectrum. This doesn't have to be fully nefarious. Some people might be subconsciously, I would probably say actually most of us might be subconsciously unaware of when we actually do this in our lives on small, tiny little levels. It doesn't have to be blatantly like full-on cult tactics used. That would be like the farthest side of the spectrum in the brainwashing. This is kind of just to get you to start to see the little ways in which you do it, and how it can accelerate or get bigger, and how you could see it on a bigger scale. Now, sometimes when a person is brainwashing another person, they might notice, like if you put too much pressure on them, they might notice that you're starting to rub them the wrong way, and that you might be losing them, and the chances of you implanting that seed into their mind of some false way of maybe thinking is starting to fail away. So a lot of times they will overcompensate and be super generous. In cults, they call it like the honeymoon period, where they just shower you with praise and gifts and tell you how awesome you are, and build you up. But a lot of it is just to get you in the door, to get you to buy to buy what they're selling. Another thing that brainwashing tactics use is something called to demonstrate an attitude of all knowing in their point of view, to constantly be pointing out and saying, whenever something good happens, see how my way of thinking and my way of living works out for me, and see how it profited me. Anytime something good happens, they will somehow bring it back to the ideology or the belief system to make you say, oh yeah, I do see how it's working out for you. Yeah, well, I want things to work out for me too. And then on the reverse side of it, they will point out to you when you're doing things wrong, and see, you weren't doing the thing that you were supposed to be doing. You weren't following the right way of living, and see, now it's not working out for you. So you need to start doing what I'm doing and adopting the things that I'm doing in order, to, get what they want. Now, in more extreme tactics, they could use tactics like, destroying all of your sources of joy just to bring you down to like a deep despair mode, pulling out all the things that you love and trying to replace it with the things that they're more comfortable with you doing, that relate to the thing that's going to get you to be more in line with the brainwashing tactic. Another thing could be, getting someone addicted to something. This is something drug dealers do all the time, right? They'll give you the drugs cheap at first, right? And then over time they'll start raising the prices on it and stuff like that, and getting you addicted, and doing what they're doing. But that's like drugs. That's a like an obvious ridiculous case. Think of maybe a more subtle way that someone might try to get you hooked on something that you think you need now. Maybe a way of life, getting you hooked on that, and then saying, well, you know what, you're not going to be able to do that anymore if you don't start complying and doing what we're all doing, or what I'm doing. They'll get you hooked, and then they'll threaten to pull that away from you in order to get what they want out of you. Another more extreme tactic in brainwashing could be like degradation or humiliation, just to bring you down to your ultimate low, to a point of, say, ostracization, where if that's even a word, to ostracize you, to make you feel like you were alone in the world. See how everyone else is doing it, or and they make you feel like the lowest, they make you feel like the biggest sack of shit you can possibly feel, to get you to comply, to get you to do what they want. And then I guess the last thing, without, say they're still not getting the compliance, they're not getting what they want out of you, well then the demonization comes out. You become the focal point of evil. See, everyone, there's where evil is. That's where the evil is. What they don't understand, though, is when they do that, when they point out, see the evil, they don't understand that the creation of the evil is coming in the person pointing at the evil, which might be the source of all devilry, where, that could be a subject on its own in another episode. But you can definitely see how all these tactics of brainwashing can be used to take control of someone and get what you want out of them. Think about the world today, the world in which we live, and all the different degrees that you see that in. Learning to navigate those waters, learning to it's a brutal, harsh task. And I say all that to say that I have been brainwashed and I have done brainwash, not on brainwashing, but not on maybe giant cult levels, but we're all, I think we are all guilty of this on some level of doing this. And I don't think we need to shy away from it and be scared that, I don't want to think of, I couldn't possibly do that. Notice it where it is. Maybe the first step is just admitting that, yes, we all, we do this. It's literally everywhere. We manipulate the shit out of absolutely everything to get what we want out of it, for whatever desires we need met in our life. It's definitely there. How are we supposed to grow if we can't even admit our weaknesses? So that would lead me kind of into, here's a weekly challenge for you. If you could just do this once in this weekly challenge, do you think that you could spend some time? Maybe it's if you meditate, or you do, contemplation or something like that. Go for a walk. Go for a walk and ask yourself, how do I brainwash? And after you do that for, 30 minutes, take another 30 minutes on your walk and go, how am I brainwashed? How am I brainwashed in my life? And then see what you find. If you have a journal, I don't know what you use to write this stuff down. how can you grow from this? What is this limiting you in? How is this blocking us from achieving what we want as the best for ourselves, our families, and everyone else out there? Because I think the heart of brainwashing is control. We want to feel like we are in control of our lives, so we go to incredible levels to give ourselves a sense of control, to feel like we are somehow, in charge of this, insane thing that is happening to us, this thing called reality. When the truth probably is that we don't have any control, that it is an absolute illusion that we have any sense of control whatsoever, and yet we fight so hard for it. And then we wonder why we feel like we're living in the pits of hell. When life isn't working out the way that we want it to, and we hold so tight to try and make it work out the way that we want it to work out, and it's just not doing it. I think that's something that, man, God, I got to think about. I got to, relinquish. It's complicated. It's hard to let go. It's hard to, admit to yourself when you're doing something wrong or stupid, or you're trying to take a control of an issue that why would you ever try and take control of it? There's no way you could ever, even if you did have control, you wouldn't even know what to do with it. But there you have it. So there's a weekly challenge for you. Write down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm delusional, if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or if you have something to add to it. I'd love to hear from you. I want to know what's going on. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, share it with a friend if you like it. You can also catch me live on Twitch every Thursday night, Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 for live meditation. You can join me. You can kind of get into the mood, maybe learn some stuff about meditation, and I hope until next week everyone has a good week. I hope everyone's doing good out there, keeping their head above water. Until next time, everyone, stay spiritual.